Canada's $19 billion fighter jet decision has just taken a dramatic turn. A turn that no one in Washington expected. A turn that stuns the Pentagon. A turn that puts Sweden's Saab Gripen in the spotlight as Canada's new favorite. This isn't just about buying jets. This is about independence, strategy, technology, and a geopolitical message that hits the U.S. defense establishment right where it hurts. Today, we break down the full story of how Canada's fighter jet decision shocked the U.S., and how the Swedish Gripen suddenly became the leading candidate in a $19 billion game changer. Welcome to the truth behind the deal. Canada's long-delayed $19 billion fighter jet replacement has become one of the country's most critical military decisions. After decades of flying aging CF-18s, Canada urgently needs a modern aircraft capable of patrolling vast territory, defending the Arctic, and responding instantly to threats. While the U.S. expected Canada to simply choose the F-35, the evaluation revealed something surprising. The F-35 doesn't fully match Canada's unique operational needs. High costs, complex maintenance, and dependence on U.S. systems raised major concerns. In contrast, Sweden's Gripen E emerged as a strong contender. Not because it's cheaper, but because it aligns perfectly with Canada's geography, climate, budget, and desire for operational independence. The $19 billion question isn't just which jet to buy. It's about the future of Canada's sovereignty, its aerospace industry, and its independence from U.S. military influence. The United States never expected Canada to seriously consider any fighter jet other than the F-35. For decades, Washington assumed its influence, industrial pressure, and long-standing defense ties guaranteed the deal. But the rise of the Swedish Gripen E in Canada's evaluation shocked the Pentagon. Why? Because a Canadian shift away from the F-35 threatens the U.S. defense export system. It challenges the idea that allies must rely on expensive, U.S.-controlled aircraft and maintenance pipelines. If Canada, America's closest defense partner, chooses the Gripen, it sends a powerful message to other nations. There are alternatives to U.S. jets. A Canadian Gripen decision would break expectations, reduce U.S. influence over Canadian operations, and potentially inspire other countries to rethink their F-35 commitments. That is why Washington is stunned. Canada's choice could trigger a domino effect across NATO and beyond. The Swedish Gripen E has emerged as Canada's unexpected frontrunner in the $19 billion fighter jet race. Not because it's the cheapest, but because it fits Canada's needs better than any rival. Designed for extreme climates, remote bases, and rapid turnaround times, the Gripen offers the exact operational flexibility Canada requires for Arctic patrols and long-distance interceptions. Its low operating cost, advanced electronic warfare suite, Meteor long-range missile, and full technology transfer give Canada something the F-35 cannot: independence and control. Saab's offer allows Canada to maintain, upgrade, and customize the jet on its own soil, a level of sovereignty the U.S. never provides. With superior adaptability, lower lifetime costs, and unmatched operational freedom, the Gripen has quickly become the new favorite in Canada's fighter jet evaluation, reshaping expectations and surprising both analysts and the Pentagon. The Pentagon is deeply concerned about Canada's growing interest in the Gripen E, because the Swedish jet threatens the dominance of the U.S.-built F-35. If Canada, one of America's closest defense partners, chooses a non-U.S. fighter, it could undermine the perception that the F-35 is the only modern solution for NATO air forces. The Gripen's lower costs, simpler maintenance, and full technology transfer raise uncomfortable questions for the U.S. defense industry. Why should allies pay billions more for an aircraft that is harder to operate and tightly controlled by Washington? In short, the Gripen represents a challenge not just to the F-35, but to U.S. defense leadership. And that's why the Pentagon is worried. For decades, Canada followed U.S. defense policy. But recent geopolitical shifts changed everything. Russia's Arctic expansion, tensions over sovereignty, high costs of the F-35, desire for local aerospace jobs, domestic pressure for independence. Canada wants to build, maintain, and upgrade its jets inside Canada, not send everything to the US for approval. The Gripen opens the door to Canadian aerospace revival. We're talking new manufacturing, software control, Canadian-made upgrades, thousands of jobs, technological sovereignty, something the F-35 program cannot offer. The Gripen E offers a set of advantages that align almost perfectly with Canada's operational realities. Built for harsh Nordic conditions, it performs exceptionally well in freezing temperatures, remote airfields, and long Arctic patrol missions, making it a natural fit for Canada's vast, rugged geography. Its operating cost is one of the lowest among modern fighters, allowing Canada to sustain a larger, more active fleet without draining its defense budget. The aircraft's modular design, advanced electronic warfare suite, and powerful Meteor missile give it a combat capability that rivals, and in some scenarios surpasses, the F-35. In short, the Gripen E delivers capability, affordability, and independence, the exact combination Canada has been looking for. Sweden's Saab succeeded where the United States never expected a challenger to even compete. Instead of relying on political pressure or military influence, Sweden focused on delivering exactly what Canada needed: a fighter that was affordable, Arctic-ready, fully customizable, and free from foreign control. While the U.S. pushed the F-35 through its usual political channels, Saab offered full technology transfer, local Canadian jobs, independent maintenance, and a jet that fits Canada's geography better than any U.S. aircraft. Saab's approach wasn't about domination. It was about partnership. They demonstrated respect for Canadian sovereignty, prepared to share critical technology the U.S. would never release, and built a proposal centered on operational practicality rather than political leverage. By offering transparency, flexibility, and genuine collaboration, Sweden didn't just compete. It outmaneuvered the U.S. strategically, economically, and diplomatically. A Canadian shift toward Gripen would reshape North American defense balance. It would mean a non-U.S. fighter operating across NATO's northern flank, a challenge to U.S. air dominance, a new strategic triangle, Canada, Sweden, Europe, a wake-up call for the Pentagon to rethink its approach. This isn't just a purchase, it's a geopolitical statement. Canada is signaling, we're ready to stand on our own.